What's up, everybody? So, the GM wrote one of the player characters at, that was a sentence. One of the player characters got written out of the story. That was a failure. We're keeping it in. We're doing it. One take wonders in this house. What up? Session's canceled. We're here. I'm here with Matt.
What's up? I like your backstory. Jim, what's my backstory? The assassin, yes.
Yeah. Nailed it.
I love my backstory.
Nailed it. I definitely, that opening joke was definitely smoother in my brain, and then it came out like a salad, like a disgusting, wilty salad with with several days old dressing and just sadness. Cheap iceberg lettuce.
You want to go great with that? This XP smoothie I've been keeping in the fridge for like 2 years.
Oh.
Raw card. You just gotta eat it with a fork and knife. But it's
I hate that. I hate that so much. I hate everything you just said. Oh God. Yeah. It's just me and Matt. So I don't know. Buckle up for stupid.
It's gonna be a great time.
It's gonna be a time. It'll be a time of days. It will be a time that has existed in the timeline of life.
Yep. You know what else people should spend their time on, Josh? Going to our X account.
No, you tried, bud. You tried. It's Twitter second. Podcast platform first. You went for the segue. You just got the order wrong. And no, I refuse to call it anything but Twitter. I am not calling it anything else.
How everyone is refusing it to call it X. It doesn't.
You can't. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We're just. You know what? We're gonna spend some time on this. I don't care. There is no universe. There is no place. There's no way to say, oh yeah, I made a post on x.com and it rolls off the tongue. It just doesn't. There's no way to say it where it doesn't sound fucking stupid. It was so much easier to just say, oh, I put out a tweet on Twitter. You didn't even have to say that. The word tweet was such good branding. All you had to say was, I put out a tweet. You don't even need to specify where because everyone knows what the fuck you're talking about. You know what X changed them to, Matt? Have you looked?
No.
They're called posts. They're posts now.
Posts.
Which,
all right.
I don't know if you noticed, but
wait, isn't that the Facebook thing? Isn't that from Facebook?
Yeah, Instagram and Facebook call them posts. What? Yeah.
Like tweet is probably in a actual dictionary by now.
Probably,
like,
yeah. It's
bother?
like, it's actually, look, not to suck the corporate overlords in Silicon Valley's cock off, because as far as marketing and advertising goes, I think those people are basically like the second worst rung. The only people worse than marketing and advertising are like CEOs and stock traders. That is a cesspool of society I care not for. But
my grandson says Fortnite and fidget spinners are fucking in. Go.
Yeah, no. I hate. No, I don't even care if they're rich. If you're a stockbroker who lives in a box, I still hate you, because fucking trading stocks is you're just a parasite on society. I don't know why I'm getting so into my fucking values right now. Yeah. But all that being said, the word tweet is amazing marketing. It's very good branding. I hate to admit it, but it is. Because it's totally unique. You say the word tweet, you instantly know what everyone's talking about. We're all on the same page, and your brain immediately thinks of that blue ass bird. Well, now it's all gone.
Yeah, it's like
you say x.com and everyone thinks you mean porn.
Yeah, it's like Google. Google is now I Googled it is now a verb. Yeah, it's like fuck.
Although Google actually loses money on the fact that Google's turned into a verb, but we won't get into that because that's a whole other side of business. It's the same reason It's the same reason Kleenex actually hates that shit. But anyway. Did you know Velcro is a brand? Did you know it's not called? Velcro isn't Velcro. Velcro is the brand. The technology is called hook and loop.
Hook and
loop straps.
Was this a Joe Rogan thing? Like I remember hearing this from someone super popular.
It might have been, but I know this is a thing. Velcro is Matt Colville I think mentioned it actually once too. Huh. I don't know if that's where I heard it from, but yeah,
maybe.
It's a thing.
Someone famous once said something like that.
It's a whole ass thing. Velcro is not a word; it's a brand. I didn't know that. This has been a really stupid 5-minute diatribe.
That's fine. What would a sessions cancel? It'd be be without one of these.
I know, but usually we diatribe about things like fucking anime or video games. That was a really weird diatribe into marketing and websites and branding, which none of those things. I don't give a shit about any of that crap.
Yep. Also, did you hear all the people who are like, just to go back to the X thing real quick, just to end it. They changed the building, like, and they have a giant X light, and I guess all the people who in San Francisco, which lol, living in San Francisco during these times,
fuck that.
Like, fucking, they have to, like, they basically, like, all the people can't get any sleep because the light is constantly fucking shining in their apartments.
Well, Matt, I have a better add-on to that story. They had to knock the sign down because he didn't have building permits for it, so it's not there anymore.
Oh my fucking god, dude! What? See, I was one of the people who was like, Elon buying this. You know what? It sounds dumb, but I think it could work.
I was kind of on board in the beginning too. No, I 100% agree. I was somewhat on board because I like the idea of someone who's a little bit of a psychopath owning a platform like Twitter because, it's just, I don't know, spice thing. Like, I was kind of on board, but now I'm at the point where I'm like, never mind, this was a bad idea.
Now it's like, because I don't remember if it was like one of my like super like, fucking hee-haw, like red fucking uncles who were telling me like, who was like, Elon has no fucking idea what he's doing. He can't run a company for shit. And I'm like, are you sure?
So
isn't he?
Apparently it's true. Apparently a lot of his like companies running is not really because of him. It's because of the other people that he like hired. Apparently that is what I've heard. Obviously,
goddamn,
I can't. Yeah.
I don't know who to believe, and I
don't know who to believe.
It's one of these things that I don't care to Google.
No, yeah, same.
So I'm like, sure. I'll just, what? You tell me, sure. Why not?
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
It's like, anyway, I could care less. The
only thing I'm worried about is if X, if the whole X thing destroys Twitter, then I don't know where I'm going to move the podcast profile to, but I'll figure that out when we get there.
There's like 5 other websites.
No, I know. We just got to figure out which one's important. Again, this is a dumb. Why are we still on this?
I don't know.
Anyway,
it's funny.
Let's actually get to the topic because nobody cares about me being concerned about where to move the Twitter account to. So before we do all that, please hit the follow or subscribe button on your podcast platform of choice because those aren't going anywhere yet. Hopefully. I mean, we're on multiple platforms. They can't all die at once. Although Stitcher, speaking of, Stitcher died, so we're not on that anymore.
I heard that recently, which that's unfortunate because I actually used to use Stitcher before Spotify.
Did you? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I like it because
I'm not surprised.
It was dumb, easy to use. Yeah,
I'm not surprised. A lot of people didn't know about it. Anyway, so what the hell are we talking about? Well,
what are we talking about, John?
We're talking about, this may come as a shock to some people, or maybe not a shock, but this may be, it's outside my normal wheelhouse because I'm usually Mr. Mechanisms, Mr. Mechanical Goodness. But today I want to talk a little bit about narrative structuring.
Narrative strutting. Oh, damn it.
God damn it. Structuring your narrative in your game. Because I don't know, I had thoughts about it recently just because, as per usual, an event happened in my game and that spurred my thinking because that's pretty much always how it goes for me.
Let me lean back in my chair real quick, grab some popcorn and listen to this. So what happened in your game last time, Josh?
I mean, it's not a particularly crazy or long story, so it's not the usual fare. But basically my players are down in the Underdark. They're dealing with this whole drow situation. And there's essentially this a civil war type. It's more like not a civil war. It's more like a rebellion against the tyrannical queen type scenario.
Right.
So my players are sort of helping the rebel drow, and the reason they're helping is so that they can, sort of usurp the evil queen, put the rebel drow leader as the new queen, and then the drow can help them with their eventual final goal because they also needed this rare ore that only the drow had, or it really not only the drow had, but it's an ore that was deep underground, so the drow and the Duragar are the only ones that really knew about it or used it. So blah, 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 blah. Point being, they're talking to the leader, the high priestess who became the sort of leader of the rebellion for various reasons, doesn't matter. And Brett's character had asked, I guess I should preface this with, I wasn't sure how I was going to do this, but I knew that I was going to bring this up in some fashion because way early on in the campaign when my players were like, I don't even know, maybe level 5, keep in mind they're level 18 now. My players had fought this drow dude who was like a serial killer that had basically he became a serial killer because he got possessed by the Dredge, which are the sort of, you know, evil big bad monsters in my setting. And they had killed him forever ago. And I knew that he was gonna connect back with the whole Drow stuff at some point. I just wasn't sure when or how or whatever. So finally we get to this point. My players are talking to the queen, or not the queen. My players are talking to the rebellion leader. And Brett's character says, do you have anything that's connected to the evil queen so I can use scrying to see what she's up to? And I went, my perfect moment. So I totally did this on the fly. This was not part of my plan, but I had decided that the dude they killed, because Drows are all like matriarchal and shit, right? The dude they killed was a consort of the queen, and she was going to marry him. So she had given him a wedding ring. And then so the dude who they had killed is the brother. This part I knew about. Like I had this part I had planned. The dude they killed is the brother to the rebellion leader, priestess. So it's her brother. So she had the wedding ring because he left without it. So she gave the wedding ring over for Brett's character to use scrying, and then explained, oh, it was my brother's, blah, blah, blah. And then I think it was Sam asked like what his name was, and she said the name, and I'm pretty sure it was Sam. I know Sam had the best reaction. She said the name, and I just hear Sam go, "Oh no!"
Yeah, because probably Sam, he's him and Brett are the note takers, so he probably looked at his documents, saw the name.
He didn't even have to look. He didn't even have to look. As soon as I said it, he knew who I was referring to, and he went, "Uh-oh, that's the guy we brutally had to kill because he was evil as shit." So there was this great moment as all the players were like, "Oh no, now we feel bad." And so they had this whole moment with the the rebel leader. Her name was Shurva. I don't know why I didn't specify her name before. They had this whole moment with Shurva and explaining like why they had to kill her brother, because he had disappeared and she didn't know why he had disappeared, and he didn't come back. And the reason he didn't come back was because he was, possessed by the evil Dredge monsters. So he was basically just fucking around killing people because he felt compelled to kill people. He turned into like a monster, basically. He didn't really have his wits about him, but he had a letter on him from her, and they found that letter.
They kept it all this fucking time. Goddamn.
Well, they had it like at the house. Like they didn't necessarily bring it with them, but they had it, so they like knew there was something going on there. So it was this good like wrap around moment, and it wasn't even really important to the grand scheme of things, right? It was mostly just a moment just to kind of show how the different areas of the setting are connected, It wasn't like vitally important to the sort of main narrative, but it got this great reaction. All of this is to say, I like how I said I wouldn't go on for that long. That lasted longer than I expected. But
who's keeping time? It's fine.
The recording software keeps time, so I can look. But all that is to say, it was a great little moment, and it got me really thinking about how you can structure your narrative to invoke not necessarily that specific sensation, but just like emotion in general, right? Because people are always like, maybe not always, but the people who really want to have that critical role style game, right? They're always trying to figure out how to get emotional reaction out of their players. They want to have the, oh shit, it's him moment, right? Everybody wants the fucking, the scene where they were sitting down at the dinner table and Percy realizes that the Briarwoods are also there, right? Yeah. Everybody wants that, right? Everybody's like, that's some peak role playing.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you actually execute them? And that got me. And, so this whole little moment with Shurva and her brother, and like the players had to kill the brother and blah, 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 got it all sort of cooking in my head. And I was like, And what I realized is, and I might be off base with this, but I think this is a valid assessment. So Matt, you give me a yay or nay. I think the best way, or not the best way, the best reference to use when trying to figure out how to kind of set up your narrative for a tabletop game is to look at how books handle it.
Yeah, book shows.
But books specifically, and the reason I say books specifically is because I think that's the medium that can share the most with the tabletop realm, and books need to convey everything through the writing, right?
Right.
Shows, movies, video games, you have all the visual components. You could have a character walk into a scene wearing a specific outfit. Nobody needs to say a word, but everyone knows what that, like, let's say you're watching a show and the show is ambiguous about what time period it is that the show is taking place, and you're trying to figure it out. And then at the end of the first episode, a Nazi walks in with an armband. Your brain immediately goes, oh, okay, it's World War II. Now I know what's good. Now all this context floods into your brain, right? You can't really do that as easily with tabletop. You need to convey words in some fashion. So not 100%.
I want to disagree a little bit on that, but I'll let you. Yeah, keep going.
Well, I know what you're gonna say. You could show like pictures and stuff, right?
Basically, because I was gonna say, I think it depends on if you're doing it like theater of the mind. You're just sitting at a table, like maybe you're using minis, but like there's no like art. If you're like someone like me that plays specifically on like Roll20 or other like virtual tabletops, pictures tell 1,000 stories. And, and that's why I'm saying maybe like, books I feel like are good, but I think you can also very easily use movie and television show references and help you to structure a narrative and structure your story, your campaign, and reference stuff. I think basically all three of those mediums work. Probably books. You might be right with books. Might be a little easier because it's like reading books teaches you how to be more descriptive, which is great for DMs.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap. That's the thing. Like, I'm not saying you can't use any of the other ones. I'm just saying I think the closest and most primary source can be books. I also think the way that books tend to handle like character arcs and getting into a character's head, a lot of that will transition really well to a tabletop game. Right.
I mean, that's also just basic storytelling and like, using natural narrative stuff like, what's that one famous thing? The Freytag pyramid, the like, basic like story structuring 101. Like
I don't know what pyramid you're referring to, but
so the Freytag pyramid is basically, it's the simplest storytelling of a thing where it's like you have point A is the introduction, and then it moves up the mountain, and then point B is the rising action.
Rising action, climax, and fall.
Climax, falling action. Yeah, the end.
Okay,
that's the Freytag pyramid.
Yes,
that's like is a basic thing they teach you in English class, like in middle school, high school. Like, that could help you.
That's definitely useful.
Yeah, the 3-act structure is also really good. There's like not only the narrative, but like books, but like TV shows. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I think what I can't put my finger on. You'd think I'd be able to explain this better because I read quite a bit, but like I don't know why I can't. I also read a lot of fantasy novels specifically. Yeah, but
actually, I want to say for your thing, what you did in your game. I don't know if this is the professional or technical term.
Writing. Go ahead. Go for it.
But what you basically did was a callback, and it was a callback, but also it was improv.
Yeah, well, I was
back to a character, and then basically being like, "Oh, it'd be cool if I brought this character's like thing connected with this plot that the players haven't heard from since level 5, so it's been a while." And then the fact that Sam had that genuine reaction of, "Oh no!" Like fucking
like, I was gonna get around to that.
Yeah.
But what I'm the main thing I'm trying to say with the initial part of this is like, there is something about the way novels are structured that I think feels like it will fit the best. And I can't 100% say why. Something about the narrative of like movies and shows and video games, like the writing style is just different enough that I feel like novels will slide in the easy. Specifically, like obviously, novels, meaning when I say novels, obviously I'm talking about like fiction novels primarily, right? Like obviously if you're talking about like a biography, that's a totally different vibe, or like any kind of nonfiction is very different vibe, obviously. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it 100%. I just feel like it's the best reference. And then you kind of move down the pyramid structure to the other thing. I think the worst reference is movies. I think movies are the worst.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you can
hold on.
do.
Let me explain. Hold on. Let me justify with saying
Okay.
I think the main reason I think they're the worst. I'm going to say worst. I don't mean they're bad. I just mean relative to the pyramid of the other things. I think they're the worst because movies have to have this really, really tight beginning to end, because movies are short, right? Movies are the shortest of the mediums, right? When you look at video games, books, TV shows, and then movies are the shortest. They have the least to work with, and they have to keep things the tightest. And I don't think most of the time, I think trying to keep things hyper tight in the way a movie is written, I don't think is going to work for a tabletop game, because you want to leave opening in a tabletop game because it's this big collaborative thing. You want to have that extra room. And I think movies generally do that less. Now, obviously, you could start getting into the topic of like, what if there's like 20 movies in the series? Yeah, but then you just kind of become a TV show.
Right.
Right.
Well,
like,
I'll say with that, I think it depends on the game. Like if you're running a homebrew game, sure. Like, let's say you're running like one of these like modules that come out that have like, it's just a bunch of one shots. And none of the adventures, like you can run them back to back to back. And then that's where I think the 3-act structure movies.
Oh yeah.
Like,
if you're doing a one shot,
there's also a bunch of Adventure League modules that they'll write 3 different modules. Each one are supposed to be run 4-hour sessions. And you basically get a full fucking movie within 3 sessions in 3 different adventures. And you're like, oh, this is great.
You know, it's funny. I'll be honest. You're not wrong. But the whole time I was thinking about this, I wasn't even considering one shots. So.
Oh shit! Really? That's.
But
funny.
you're not. Yeah, you're not wrong. It's true.
Yeah.
If you
even one shot adventures, like if you think about it, those are like
a movie.
Those are basically a movie where it's like, all right, get in, get the. Because even with my favorite is with the Adventure League stuff, they literally break it down into time for some stuff. So they're like, all right, so the intro should be about 30 minutes. You tell the players the fuck is going on. You do the introduction. You know, maybe they can buy some potions or whatever. And then literally the next like chapter, 3 hours.
Right.
Like the adventure.
I think the other thing too about a one shot, when you sit down to do a one shot, assuming your players are not being jackasses, all the players are sort of agreeing and understanding we're doing a one shot. We don't have a lot of time, so we're not going to faff about or like try and deviate from the main thing. We're just going to do whatever the main mission is because that's what we're here to do. We've all agreed to do it. So a little more railroading, a little more focusing down a specific path, everyone's fine with because you all agreed to do a one shot.
You know what I forgot to? I probably should have told you guys this during our Barbarian episode, and it slipped my mind until afterwards.
Okay.
But I went. Do you remember? You know that show by Genndy Tartakovsky, Primal, the dinosaur one?
Yep.
When that show came out, I instantly had an idea for a one shot, and I ran it on Halloween, and it was all Barbarian one shot. I'm like, you guys are cavemen. You're, I'm like, think of like actually, I invoked the Primal show, and then also Far Cry Primal. And I'm like, you guys, the first adventure, I'm like, you guys are literally going to go out.
You're going to collect some fruit?
Yeah, go out, hunt the mammoth, bring the meat back to your home and survive.
Yep.
And that was basically the one shot. And they again, one of the players almost died hunting a mammoth. They almost died surviving, trying to get back to their cave dwelling. And then I threw in a fire breathing T-Rex boss at them at the end. Just because.
Nice.
Yeah. And I think I ended up killing a player, but he did the thing where he's like, can I Drax and like kill the thing as it like swallows me or like stab it? And I think he ended up actually getting the last kill, but he died in the process. So I'm like, yeah, fuck it, why not? It's cool.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely, it's funny. Because when I was thinking about narrative structuring, I was really focusing on that like long-term campaign idea. So
yeah, when it comes, long-term campaign is, I think definitely novels.
You know what I think?
Or a show like.
Yeah, well, you know what else is the other thing that the reason novels I think really fit really well is because novels are by far, you can put the most meat in a book, right? When it comes to story meat, you can get so much more information via a shitload of written words than having to spend an hour filming a really long show or making a video game, right? That's a ton of work and shit. So a lot of the time it's like a huge investment if you're trying to make something really long, which obviously it happens, but like it's a big investment. But novels, you could just type and type and type and type. You know what I mean? Like, you could be the Brandon Sanderson or George R. R. Martin and have a 1,000 fucking page novel. And you're like, I
I didn't miss shit. You know, like,
and it's
sir?
like that ludicrous
So much.
length. That ludicrous length, and a lot of times really lines up with the tabletop feel. You know?
Yeah.
Oh fuck! What was the other? There was one other thing I was gonna say. Damn it!
Now I was gonna ask you because I have a couple of things like I wanted to bring up, but like, I know this happens. Are you, when it comes to like narrative structuring, are you also talking just like how would you set this up like for a campaign? Like if you're starting out, you're a new DM, like. Because like one of the first things I think actually, so this I got A from Matt Colville, B my own like understanding of storytelling growing up, and also listening to the Sly Flourish guy. It's always about the fronts or the villain. Yes. Whoever are the movers and shakers of like anytime. When I started like the 3-year game, my first thing that I started was like, who's the bad guy?
Well,
who's the bad guy? Who's gonna like do the like. And then you make the players, and then eventually the players become also partially movers and shakers because it's their story.
Well,
so you always want to start with who came first, who's the bad guy, who like
it's not
the one fucking up shit for the players to react to.
It's not necessarily who came first; it's who started it. Because the thing that's really important to think about, and yes, that is basically what I'm talking about. If you're a new DM and you're trying to figure out what you want to do with a long-term campaign, I am not saying write everything out like a novel. That's a bad idea. But
no,
yes,
don't fucking do that.
Don't
Absolutely
do that.
Not.
Never do that. But yes, the idea of starting with the villain, the reason you do that, and I'm stealing this from Matt Cole. I think I've heard other people say this too, though, is heroes are reactive, villains are proactive. Right?
Yeah, a lot of people say that. Yeah,
because if nothing bad happens, then the hero doesn't need to protect or save anyone. Then they're just going to stay at home and, fucking milk the cows because nothing's bad happening. So they don't need to do anything. Villains are proactive because they're selfish and decide, I want to do something bad, right? So a hero doesn't go, I'm going to save the world, and then there's no one to save it against. The villain says, I'm going to destroy the world. And the hero goes, hey, whoa, wait a minute, buddy. No, we can't be doing that now. That's the big thing. So that's why you always start with the villain, because they're the one who kicks everything off. Because if you don't have the villain there, nothing's kicked off. That being said, the villain could be like, in the beginning, your villain could just be the goblins down the road. Like, it doesn't need to be anything crazy. It just needs to be something that the players have to react to. Because if your players are being proactive and like, if you flip it on its head and the players just roll up and say, we're going to go out in the woods and kill those goblins, and the goblins haven't done anything, then your players are just murderers. They're just murderers for no reason, right? And then they're evil. They're not heroes. Now, that being said, if you're trying to do an evil campaign, that might work. That's a whole other situation. I'm not necessarily going to get into that, but I will say I really should do an evil campaign episode at some point.
Yeah, we keep bringing it up. Right
I know, well, because I've done a couple of them, so I'm like, I really should. Yes, if you are running an evil campaign, though, yes, your players are should be much more proactive than you would be in a normal campaign, because
they're the fronts.
They essentially, they are the problem in a lot of ways. Not 100%, but definitely more so than normal. But yeah, I am basically talking about like, figure out your villain, figure out your kind of end goal, like where you want things to line, where you want everything to culminate, figure out your big notes, your big chapters, as it were, going back to the books and shit, and sort of what would you ask me specifically? I feel like I lost my own train. I lost myself. As
we were talking about like new DMs, like doing this.
I know, but you asked me a question.
Villains.
You did. Shit. Somebody roll back the tape. Fuck.
How would you? I don't know. How would you?
Did you ask?
Yeah. Actually, wait. I don't think I really asked the question.
No, you said. Do you mean something? Damn it. I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Yes, what you were explaining, Matt. Yeah, that's really, that's what I'm getting at is
oh yeah, do you mean when you start, like, where do you start? Like,
yeah, where do you start? How do you figure out what you want? Like, what are the major things you need to figure out? What are the major like NPCs? The funny thing is like, I think a lot of people get intimidated by a lot of this stuff because you say to a newer DM, who are your major NPCs? And the new DM thinks that they need to have a fully fleshed out character to answer that question. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is, all right, everybody, get real close. Shh. All right, I'm just talking to you now. Just talking to you. All right. Your major NPC, all they could say is the blacksmith guy. And that's it. And you figure it out later. That's the secret. I know I've blown everyone's mind. You don't need all the information. You really don't. Like, if someone says to you, who are the major NPCs you want to appear? And you go, the blacksmith guy, the guard captain guy, and the king. Good. You have it figured out. You have a thought. You're going somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't figure them out, get more fleshed out when you need to get more fleshed out. But you do not need to have a thick, meaty Reuben sandwich right at the beginning. You could just have some bread and some cheese. It's okay. I don't know why I did a sandwich analogy, but here we go. Like for my game, I was like, okay, cool. Villain, weird interdimensional oopy goopy monsters that can take the form of basically whatever the fuck they want and also sort of take over other things. Cool. Dredge, done. I think I had a name for them really early on just because I knew I liked I knew I wanted to have like kind of the ocean vibe, and Dredge I liked a lot because I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the name just came from, when you dredge the bottom of the ocean, that's when you pick up all the nasty shit from underneath. Oh, that's where the name comes from, because the dredge live in the Manatide, and the Manatide is not necessarily literally an ocean, but it has a very aquatic theme and vibe to it. Mm-hmm. So they're the dredge because they're the nasty parts of the under the ocean. Okay. In case anyone was curious where that came from. So I knew, I was like, yep, villain, dredge, cool. Major characters, weird spooky guy who tells the players their prophecy. Cool, got that one down. I didn't have any idea who he was going to be or anything about him. He ended up being less important than I planned, but that's okay. No gods around, so the only like godly information they're going to get conveyed is the Manatide itself, because it's sort of kind of like vaguely sentient, but not really. Mm-hmm. And then I knew I wanted the like council that runs the city. And then I knew I wanted the sort of lead protector guy of the like special council SWAT team. And I had I had nothing. I had no clue what that character was going to be until like session 10, I think. I knew he was going to be in there. I just had no clue how. So yeah, start with all those little boops and bops. Where do you start? Like, obviously villain, you just said that. What else do you generally start with?
I guess when it comes to like overall narrative, or just like that session, like
overall narrative, like session 1 hasn't happened yet. You're still setting up the meat and potatoes.
So yeah, I usually again start off with the villain. Then I go with like, all right, where the fuck are we? Like setting, and then I kind of from there I can generate like, what kind of story am I talking about? What kind of narrative am I?
What kind of? Interested? Yes. That's that's what I'm trying. Yes. What kind of story are you going for? Yeah. I think that's originally a big thing.
With the 3-year game, what I thought was going to be the story, and then what ended up happening throughout the campaign just changed. Because originally, my idea, and I don't remember I think this was originally from a Dragonlance thing, where I wanted my setting to be like more nature based and more like there was a war between like elves and dragons, and I hinted at that a little bit early on in my campaign, and then midway I just gave up and said fuck it, because so much other shit was going on, and I changed a bunch of stuff, and I was like, you know what, there's no point in me bringing this up anymore, so I just changed that, and then just had like the big war, the dragon cult, and all that stuff. Because I thought, like, originally when I wrote out the campaign as like, the main bad guy, the invincible overlord, I changed it. He's a high elf guy. It was basically a high elf, like, paladin, like, wizard guy. I'm like, oh, it'd be cool. Maybe he's like, he's bringing back the dragons or something, because the dragons like were like sealed away because of the elves, and if they come back, they're gonna try and destroy the world and all that shit. I hint that later in the campaign.
Why did
they're trying to destroy nature?
Why did that not end up being? Like, where do you think you kind of like? I don't want to say fell apart, but like sort of lost.
I think midway when I just became more invested in the players. Like, and this is the other thing. So once you set up like the world and all that, and like you got your villain, you got the basic gist story, then that's when you look at the players, what are they playing and what is their backstory and how can you tie that into your world. I was more invested in my players stuff.
Okay.
Eventually throughout my campaign recap shit, I was so burnt out, and eventually I got to this point where I was doing the bad GM thing of like I was trying to run the players through my novel towards the end, when I should have been focusing on having a good game that not only did the players enjoy, but that I was having fun with. And it's a thing that looking back on it, it's like maybe if I took a break earlier, or maybe if I just, cut more content than I did, I probably wouldn't have run into that issue. But eventually, towards the end of the campaign, I felt like I'm just running the players through a novel and not an adventure. And by the end, basically the next time I do one of these recaps, that whole Feywild stuff, all that shit, like with the forest and the dragon city, all that was me running the players through my novel, and like here and there the players had it like they were off, like they would do like fucking around, downtime stuff, but I felt like I was shoving the players forward, like, all right, we got shit to do, let's go, let's move, story. And I think after the next bit, the ending is when I brought it back to being an adventure and not running the players through a novel.
Well,
because it is a thing that DMs do a lot, and I feel bad saying this, but it is a bad trait. You're not running the players through your novel. You should be running players through an adventure. Yes, story is fun and stories matter, but if the players aren't invested in it, then you did a bad job. No one cares about the story.
Well, I mean,
you have to change the story to make it interesting.
There is a caveat here.
Yeah.
In that, like, yes, don't come at it with the mentality of, you're going to hit all your story beats, blah, 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 because you can't control the player's actions.
Exactly.
So there's no way to know.
I'm guilty of that, yeah.
But I do think it's worth pointing out, if you are, like, if you are doing that, let's say you end up in a position where you're like, oh, I am kind of running my players through my novel, but your players are into it and they're going along and they're cool with it, then you can just kind of keep rolling. It's not inherently a problem.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a problem.
Yeah. I feel like it's more of a problem when it comes to home games than like a module.
I don't think because you can be too pushy with the module too.
I think you can, but I think more people are in line to just change shit, like just change it, like, because it doesn't make sense, like Sam did with us for Avernus, or like my buddy Joe did with Icewind Dale, or
but just because you're changing it doesn't mean you're just writing a new novel to put your players through. Like, I think you can still end up in that place.
Yeah, but it's writing a new. What I guess I should specify by is the author changed how the adventure went because of the players. It wasn't the novelist had a different idea for when he wanted to do the chapter, and midway through the chapter ripped it and added a new one.
No, I get what you're saying.
The author got feedback from his writing staff and was like, that is a better idea. I'll do that.
No, I know what you're saying. What I mean is, I don't think because what you said was, I think it's less likely to be an issue with a module. I don't think it's any less likely to be an issue with a module. I think you could do it in a home game or a module. I think the reason it happens more with home games is because the writer is the GM, so they're more personally invested in their thing. So it tends to happen more because they don't want to give up on their baby. Whereas the module is less their baby, so it tends to be less a thing. Right. But you could totally run a module in a fashion where it's just hyper railroad central. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I've been in a couple sessions like that, and it sucks.
Yeah, like it's
like you totally like the Waterdeep thing I mentioned.
Waterdeep thing.
The Waterdeep Dragon Heist Adventure League. Where it was super railroaded, and it was a bad DM.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you. It probably is because the DM is also
it's your baby.
The lore keeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's again, God, we're just gonna plug Matt Colville all day. There's a video he made years ago.
The railroad versus the linear.
No, it's called lore versus writing.
Oh yeah.
That video it opened up my mind to like someone who's a much more experienced storyteller than I am, of like, you know, lore. And this is why I'm kind of like, when I joke with you and Isaiah sometimes about, I'm like, just change it, fuck it. Lore doesn't matter.
I do.
Lore, like it, like writing and lore building are kind of like somewhat different, and you like, the lore can always change. You can always change something to either make sense, or if your players are involved, you're like, fuck it, because you don't want to, like, again, tie the players and sink the players down into like, burn my lore. You're like, all right. You work with the players. It's a collaborative effort.
It doesn't have to. Yeah, nothing exists until it hits the screen, or in this case, until it hits the, you know, game table, right?
Yeah.
Like, just because you wrote it down in the background, it doesn't exist until it actually hits. It doesn't exist until it interacts with the players, because until that point, it's just some information you wrote down. It's not a thing yet.
No. Like, I'll give you an example of one that I had no idea for, and I just kind of improv. Well, not even improv it. I never thought of it. In Strixhaven.
Okay, I want to backtrack a thing after this, but okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. My players. One of my players is on the student council, and he's also the captain of a sports team. So, like one of the, you know, Magic School sports team. And so he's like, so, you know, we're playing all these practice games. He's like, can we compete against another school? And then me sitting there being like, oh yeah, there should be other schools in this place.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because it's like the setting builds it like, oh, Strixhaven, it's the only college. Oh, it's all magical. Oh. And it's like, wait a minute, no. There probably are other schools.
I believe the magic, like, sort of lore, I believe the explanation for there only being Strixhaven is because it's interdimensional. So everyone from all the other places comes to this one place. That's why it's the only one. But yes, that's why, the idea that there would be others is like, it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, now I'm like, oh yeah, there are other. Now they're going to be playing against other schools and stuff that I make up on the spot, because like looking at like the plane of Strixhaven, I'm like, Grackle Keep. There's probably a school there in Grackle Keep.
You have Strixhaven, and you have Gixhaven, and you have Mixhaven, and you have Rixhaven.
And it's like, are these schools also magic schools? It's like, no, only Strixhaven.
Yeah, right.
We absorb all the magic.
So I want to backtrack to a thing a little bit.
Go
because you mentioned players' backstories. I think this is a really important thing that I heard someone say forever ago. And this ties into whole, like, how you should try and structure out your narrative, because you might go, okay, I have my NPCs, I have my big moments, I have kind of idea of where I want the ending to go, I have an idea of where I want it to all sort of begin. That, by the way, that's the most important part of the whole shebang, is deciding how you start, how you kick things off, because that sets a tone. But you've done all your shit, right? You have all your shit on your side of the table, and then your players, they all slide the paper across the table to you that says my backstory. You as a GM go, oh fuck, what do I do with all this crap? And you're like, I don't want to read all this. Some of these people wrote 30 pages, right?
Yeah.
Here's the secret. Also, if you write 30 pages, bro, chill. Fuck it, stop it. But
yeah, I had to tell some of my players, I'm like,
you're like, listen, reel it in, bud.
If you write too much, I will literally not read it.
Yeah.
I give me like two, 3 paragraphs maybe, like bullet point stuff for me, the important bits. So I'll know it's important if you bullet point it.
That's true. But let's say they don't, right? How do you as a GM, you go, what do I do with this? I already have all of my big story beats I want to hit, and I don't know how to fit these in. Here's what you do. Look at that piece of paper. You take all the proper nouns. You circle all the proper nouns. Circle them, underline them, highlight them, change the color in the Google Doc, whatever you got to do. Circle all those proper nouns. And delete all the rest of that garbage. We don't need it. All you need are the proper nouns. And someone might go, wait, what do you mean all I need are the proper nouns? Think about it for a minute. Your player hands you a backstory, and they tell you who their mom is, and who their dad is, and where they lived, and what their dog's name is, and all these people in their life. But then they also give you 84 pages about how they slayed a mighty dragon. none of the crap about the dragon matters. But what does matter is if you take that character's mom and suddenly, hey, mom is being threatened by the goblins. Actually, the goblins captured your mom. Boom, done, integrated. Just take all the proper nouns out and throw out the rest of that crap because most of it you don't need. That's the secret. And then you integrate all those proper nouns. And this is actually going to segue. This is a good segue now, thinking about it. I wasn't planning this, but this works. Because Matt, what you mentioned, I was like, oh, the thing you did was a callback, right?
Yeah.
Callbacks, integrating backstories, all that crap.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful little key to all that. Oh, by the way, actually, great example of just using the proper noun. Again, going back to Critical Role. Oh, hey, the Briarwood showed up. Matt Mercer said nothing else. He was just like, the Briarwoods are here at the dinner table, and Percy's player Taliesin immediately goes, Noni? Right? Like, that's all you gotta do.
I did mention it.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do. But
you don't make a big deal. You don't do the Marvel thing of like you say the thing and just pause for like, claps. You're like, oh, like audience reaction. You just say it like it's normal and you keep going with the conversation, and then the player will pick up. Be like, no, go, Mr. DM, go back. I need you to go back 1 sec, please.
It's funny. That's
you said an important word,
Matt. You just brought up another bullet point. I'm gonna, but first, so the callback. The idea of, this thing from reuse your NPCs. Reuse and re-implement your NPCs as much as you can, because by constantly bringing back the same characters, first of all, your players are more likely to get attached to them if you keep bringing them up over and over again.
Yeah.
Second of all, third of all, I don't know, whatever. Your players are going to have more of a grasp of who the character is if they keep seeing them over and over, and they're going to care more if they keep seeing them over and over.
Yeah.
And then if they have more of a grasp and care more about that character, they're more likely to utilize that NPC. And if they're more likely to utilize the NPC, that's where you as a GM get to do more lore dumping. That's how you get your lore in there. You just go, meh, the character says boopity boppity boopity bop, right?
Yeah.
When you run into, because a lot of the time in a game, you'll come to this crossroads. You'll be like, okay, the players need to find someone to reforge their magical sword.
Yep.
Well, I could have them go to the magical blacksmith guy, the giant that lives up on the mountain, but they haven't seen him or know anything. They don't even know he exists yet. Or I could just have them go back to the blacksmith that they've already talked to before, and then he can say, yeah, I can fix it for you if you go get this special material from the magic giant blacksmith. Boom, problem solved.
Yeah.
Right? Reintegrate, keep reusing characters. Now, obviously, there's a fine line here because, if you Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny the situation... where you can obviously, if you do what Matt did and make it a joke, then it's a joke. But like, if you do the thing, obviously it was also a joke in Pokemon. But like, if you do the thing where this same NPC keeps on magically showing up over and over and over again, just conveniently for no reason, obviously that is gonna get stupid and annoying unless you're doing it for a joke.
Yeah.
But a place where it's reasonable to reuse a certain character, then do it. Like, don't reintroduce another NPC when you have a perfectly good NPC sitting right there. You don't need to buy a new pair of shoes. You have a perfectly good pair of shoes right there. Why would you buy new ones? Don't waste the money, right? Don't waste your brain power on coming up with another NPC if you don't need to. And then if the characters come back to that NPC, then you can and you can do more funny lines with the NPC or whatever, or play out the NPC more. And suddenly the players learn more. And then the players learn that an NPC has, divorced his wife. And then he also has a puppy he really likes that he got recently. And all these little things you could keep throwing them in because the players keep talking to the character.
Yeah.
It's a
great way to share like info on your world, set up like
info, but it's also I don't know what the word is, but like, again, this is the thing that books do a lot, right? Like books will have like this character keeps being we're always staying in contact with them. There's definitely I don't don't know. I don't know what the phrase I'm trying to say is, but yeah, it's a good way to introduce things. It's a good way to, it's really, I think the main reason it works really well is it gets your players to give a shit.
Yeah.
Right? Because if your players know that every NPC they meet, they're going to meet once and then never speak to again, then they don't care. You know, they're going to be like, yeah, that's great. Lord Farnonius of the Great and Elven Glade. We're not going to see you again in 5 minutes, so we literally don't care about anything you're saying. Yeah, but if they live in the realm of Great Lord Farnonius, then you're going to see them
like most of my players in the 3-year game, like the most attached NPCs were the ones they were literally in almost every other session with, like, you know, the Drake dog that was basically another player, Jeff the Tabaxi, who was their fucking bodyguard at the keep, Nurse Joy, who was their fucking friendly cleric NPC because none of them are healing, like,
I mean,
and same thing in like Strix, and in Strixhaven right now. One of the biggest issues I realized, literally the first session, was like I introduced the players to like 15 fucking NPCs. And I was like, man, this is not good. And throughout now, I've been playing for a year, the players got the gist, but there'll be times where they're like, who's this guy again?
Yeah,
it's like, it's your classmate. It's like, but they've grown attached to the NPCs. Like there's a little halfling sorcerer girl that my players fucking love. Their favorite NPC, Rosie. She's basically like, you know, hyper like, you know, loves monsters, basically, you know, kind of like what if Rebecca was a fantasy character. But not as insane or violent or violent, actually, especially the violent part. What if Rebecca wasn't violent in D&D?
Yeah, I mean,
the fucking goth vampire fucking girl who fucking is, you know, druid.
Yeah, I think the way to go about that problem where you're like, oh, I have 60,000 fucking, because it's true in like a school setting, you are going to have like a bunch of classmates
so many.
run into. I think the best way to go about that is to make sure that when the NPC is introduced, they're introduced with a moment. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
no, that's true.
Like if they get introduced to the goth vampire girl because like they go to a party and they find her in like one of the in the back room of the party, like making herself blood soup on like the stove, you know, like that's one of those things you're gonna be like, hey, what you doing?
Yeah,
making some soup.
Like that stands out.
It's gonna stand out because like weird vampire girl making a soup when everyone's partying, right? So like give the NPC a moment. I think that's one of the best ways to do it. But it can also be tiring if you have a lot to go through. So you have to you gotta kind of feel it out and just pace it as you go. Like there's not really a formula.
Yeah, because there are also some NPCs like professors and stuff that the players don't fucking see every day. So the players all work at a cafe at their local library. So they're like, oh shit, we gotta go talk to our work manager. And then they get there and I show them the picture and everything, and they're like, 3 of the players are like, who? I'm like, get your work manager. You guys known her for like a year and a half. You've been working here for like ever. And I'm like, and I also love Discord because I have literally just a channel just for NPCs and art, and it literally has their name, what their job is, what they're doing, so they have all the information. My players,
definitely
either just
handouts
for gore or they're lazy. They don't go to the Discord and there's like, let me type in the fucking character's name.
They're probably lazy.
Yeah. So it's like half my players are like, who? And they're like, oh yeah, she's a Duragar, and like, oh my god damn it.
Yeah, I literally have a big folder. It says like I have one big folder. It says allies, and one big folder it says enemies, and it's full of a bunch of NPCs that there are, you know, allies and enemies that they've run into, blah blah blah. So like similar vibe, I just do it in Roll20, but like
But to be fair, again, Strixhaven there's so many fucking NPCs, so I can't like really.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. You got to kind of pace it out.
That's what I actually added to this, so technically.
No, Matt, how dare you?
Yeah,
you got to pace it out a certain degree. There's no magic formula. But you said a thing somewhere along the road there that
someplace
jogged a note thought. Saying something and then not explaining it
Yeah.
This is a huge thing. There's some of my, like, there's a lot of books that do this, and a book. So I'm reading through, as you know, Matt, I'm reading through the Black Company books right now. And the author of those has this habit, and some people might find this annoying. I think it's fucking genius. He has this habit of, he will just drop statement. Oh,
Yep.
What?
Never mind. You're good. You're good.
Okay.
Sorry.
He will just drop statements and nuggets of information randomly while you're reading and not give any context or explain, because the characters know what each other are talking about. But you as the reader are like, I don't know what that is. But it doesn't matter. All you know is it's a thing, and the characters know what it is, and you go, okay, and just keep going.
No one says anything.
Well, so like a great example is something that the characters talk about a lot is the characters know a bunch of different languages. Many of the members of the Black Company know a bunch of different languages because they're sort of well-traveled individuals. And
Right.
anytime they're trying to like, not anytime, but a lot of the time when they're trying to talk with no one else paying attention, where I'm at in the series, they're in like a totally different country. So they will sometimes say like, oh, Croker says blah, blah, blah in the language of the Jewel Cities so that only Mergen could understand him. And I am 5 books deep, 6 books deep. I don't know what the Jeweled Cities is.
They just say the Jeweled Cities.
Jeweled Cities. It is the language
That's
of the
funny.
Jeweled Cities. They say it over and over and over again. They occasionally mention, oh, he's like a character might be from the Jeweled City. I do not know what it is. It has never been explained because it doesn't matter. The only thing you
That's
need to
funny.
know is they have a language. They're from that place. They speak this, like it's a thing that these characters speak that a lot of the other characters don't. And the important thing is, by dropping these little nuggets and then not saying anything, it makes the world feel more real and more
This is-
fleshed out.
Yeah, this reminds me. The instant thing I thought of was the fucking Kessel Run with Han Solo.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
you don't need to see the Kessel Run.
Oh my God,
you know,
Matt,
it's cool.
yes.
And then the fucking and you know what's
Literally,
weird? I actually
yes.
like the Solo movie.
I do too, actually.
Except for the Kessel
Except
Run.
for the
part,
Kessel
'cause
Run.
I'm like,
Yes, except for the
know.
Same that.
Didn't want to know what the fuck it was.
Oh my God, fucking
Cloud
same.
worms or some shit.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
fuck,
not
like-
only was the Kessel Run kind of dumb, but also I didn't want to know. Oh, yes, I agree, Matt, because I also did actually kind of like the Solo movie.
Yeah, it's cool to have like lore and shit, or not.
Yeah, there was
I don't
fun
even know if
tidbits
it's
in
lore.
there.
Yeah, tidbits like that aren't explained, and that's like, I don't even know.
It
like,
just didn't.
otherwise,
We
like-
just didn't need it. We just didn't need it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have like an NPC. He's like, yeah, I pulled the dagger out of the bloodstone of Grakagor. You're like, what?
Yeah.
The bloodstone?
Yeah. And then the player,
What?
yeah, right, exactly. And then the players
Does not
immediately
say
go,
anything.
"What's the bloodstone?" And the NPC just like walks off. They're like, "Wait a minute." Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, come back.
Yeah, because the reason. And some people might say, "But that's dumb. That's not how. Like, why would you do that?" That's how it works in real life.
Yeah, you don't have to explain everything.
Like,
It's like
think about it. Think about how many times you've been like talking to someone or overhear somebody talking, and they mention like a town you've never heard of, and they keep talking to the person, and they just keep going, and you're like totally
time.
lost because you're like, wait, what are we talking about? What? Because it's
mine.
That's how
mine
real life is.
Mine is all my coworkers are obsessed with One Piece, and I'm the
Yep,
one person who
yep.
hates. I don't hate it, One Piece. I'm annoyed by it.
You don't watch
So
it.
they'll be telling me all this shit and the story and where
Uh-huh.
it's going and what's happening, and they'll just say NPCs.
Characters.
Fuck, they'll say character names
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
no fucking reference
Yeah.
to. I just smile and nod like I understand, but I don't.
And how many
And I'm
times?
like-
And it's. I mean, I don't know. I feel like in America, this is probably a more common. What's the word? This is probably culturally more common in a place like America, but I'm sure other countries have this too. Where like, how many times have you been walking around and two people are just like casually talking in another language you don't understand right next to you, and they're just going, and like you're not gonna stop them and be like, "Excuse me, can you speak English, please?" Like,
Yeah,
like,
don't be a Karen. Don't fucking.
right. Particularly
We
in
speak
America. I
America
mean,
here.
yeah, particularly in America. How many times are you walk around all the time hearing people speak Spanish like constantly?
Yeah, it's
you know
a
what I mean?
multicultural country. Like,
I
fuck,
mean,
man.
I have a great actual real life story of me being one of my coworkers being the player character and me being the NPC who was like, "What?" Or sorry, other way around. I was the player character who didn't understand. He was the NPC talking about something. I was working at this restaurant, and we go downstairs to the freezer, and it was me and the one other busboy and the one of the chefs, and they start talking to each other in Spanish about something, like about what we need to do. I don't even remember what the context was, but they start talking to each other in Spanish. And then they finish talking and the chef goes back upstairs. And then my coworker looks at me and is like, all right, let's go. And I'm like, what are we doing? He's like, what do you mean? What Boney just said? I'm like,
we just explained everything.
I was like, I don't know what you just said. And he looked at me for a second and was like, what do you mean? Oh, yeah, right. You don't speak Spanish. I was like, no, I do not. So he was like, yeah. And he explained it to me. Cause like,
context.
Yeah, it was really funny because he just looked at me. He's like, all right, let's do it. And I'm like, do what? What are we doing? I was so lost.
Start pulling out a bag.
Yeah.
Like, wait.
I was like, what is happening? So yeah, he explained it to me. But like, that's totally a real thing. So in your in your tabletop game, like do that shit. Like drop nuggets. Like a great, a great example is my players when they were down in the Underdark and they were dealing with the drow. One of the drow said to them, all right, we're going to have to wait here for at least one cycle because we need to help these people in town with something. And I didn't explain what one cycle was. I never said.
Yeah.
The drow just said we have to wait one cycle and then went off to go do something. And I never said anything to my players. And at one point, my players were talking to each other and Sam being Sam, he figured it out. He was sitting there and he turned to the other players and said, oh, we have to wait a cycle. I assume that means a day. And it did. That's what it meant because the drow don't say day or night because they don't have a day and night cycle. So I was like, what would they say? I was like, well, cycle makes sense, right? Like just the word cycle as opposed to day or night because they don't have a sun. And then at one point, Sam in character goes, hey, how do you guys know what time it is? Because I didn't explain that either. I was like, I just said, oh, there's a cycle, but I didn't explain how they tell, right? Yeah. I had an answer, but I didn't say anything. So then Sam's character went, how do you guys know what time it is? And then the drow character went, oh, I'll show you. And the reason I came up with is there's fungus that grows on the roof of the caves. And the fungus, when it's daytime in the above world, the fungus is dimmer. And then as it gets darker in the above world, the fungus lights up. So it looks like stars. Yeah. It looks like stars on the ceiling.
I'm trying to remember in actual like Forgotten Realms, the Menzo Branson.
Yeah, I'm sure they have some lore.
I think
nonsense.
they have something where it's like there's literally... Oh God, I'm gonna kill. I don't remember what it's called, but there's a giant stone that goes from floor to ceiling. This thing's basically the size of a skyscraper. And it's a giant gem, and the gem is bright red during the day, and then as it's nighttime, it
similar to what I said.
Dims. Yeah, basically, yeah, similar, but instead of fungus, it's a giant crystal.
Yeah. But what's really great about that, right, is like the fact that Sam asked in character. Yeah. Sam is now just that little bit more invested. Because he asked himself. Because anytime you get your players to be like, what's going on? That means they give a shit. They're paying attention. So leave those little nuggets of empty knowledge. It's a huge, it's like one of my favorite. I will have characters say shit all the time. And just, I know for a fact the players probably don't know. Like I remember another great example was my players went to this little town outside the main city. And one of the people they were talking about mentioned, they were like, oh yeah, the stag of the lake, and just kept talking, and then my players had no fucking clue what that was. They were like, okay, and then they saw the stag and they were like, oh well, that's interesting. And then once again, I think it was, I don't remember if it was Sam or Brett this time, but I think it was Sam again, was like, oh, I bet the stag is this other character from before. And I was just like, yeah, it is. But yeah, it's like, the funny thing actually is the stag idea came from Brett because Brett was playing not his primary character. And he mentioned that this other character he was playing, it was like, oh yeah, sometimes I interact with the people in the town of Starwater. And I was like, oh, thanks for the idea there, Brett. Nice. Yeah, just like chuck these fucking nuggets out. And the reason I will admit that particular little trick is maybe not necessarily narrative structuring so much as like a world building thing, but it can it can tie back to the narrative, right? By having,
it could also, oh no, go for it. Sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say by having NPCs who know more about what's going on than the players do, right?
Yeah, and then it also makes the world more real and grounded.
Yeah, it feels like there's more shit going on.
Yeah,
which is really,
are not real and grounded, but it makes the world feel like it's an actual living, breathing.
It's a world, yeah. There's shit going on. Stuff's happening. There's things you don't know about.
That's why I like certain NPCs. I hate that I'm gonna reference fucking this guy, but you know, was it 17%, whatever?
17.8%.
7.8. He had a really good analogy when it comes to NPCs, and I really like this as well, where it's like you have like, you know, you have the bad guys, you have your quest givers, all that shit. You have the bad guys, but then you need like, you know. So I feel like you need like Farmer Joe Schmo to make the world feel like it's actually like lived in and real and stuff.
Yeah, you gotta have normies.
And this is why it's like I kind of like a while ago pushed back a little bit against Isaiah, where he was like, yeah, every NPC has a quest, or they have a reason to be there, or whatever, or they have like some sort of meaning that the players can gain access to. And I'm like, isn't that fucking tiring? Can't there just be like Joe Schmo the farmer who's just living out here, like he doesn't want any involvement? The players can talk to him. They're not really going to gain anything. But it's like, you know, the world is alive. Shit is moving. Things are happening. Whether other quote unquote people are affected by the things that we do.
Yeah, I mean, like the fact that I gave my players a neighbor, and he's just kind of there. He's just their neighbor.
Yeah,
they don't like. Yeah. They haven't talked to him in a while, but like he's around. You know,
funny.
He's their neighbor. He said hi once. I think he watched the cat one time.
Nice.
You know, stuff like that. Yeah, no, it adds to that. It adds to my favorite, the verisimilitude. My favorite word to use all the time. And then that ties in nicely, because the other thing is, since we're on the NPC train, I think another thing that can really help, and this again is sort of a world building thing, but can cross over into the sort of main linear narrative, depending on how you use it. It just occurred to me. I meant to say this at the beginning, and I forgot.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
This whole situation I'm talking about, and I think me and Matt are on the same page, even though I didn't specify this, but like this all assumes you're kind of doing a linear story campaign. When you get into the realm of like sandboxy or hex crawly or a little more like Monster of the Week style game, you're not really gonna structure a whole narrative as much as you're gonna do little focused episode style stuff. You know, like I'm not really talking about that realm because that's sort of a different thing. And that has been what me and Matt are talking about, because I think we're just on the same page. But I did mean to specify that, like, yeah, if you're doing the sandbox hex crawl game, this is probably not going to apply in the same way, or it'll apply, but you'll have to use it differently. Particularly stuff like coming up with a primary villain and then having him do a thing. You're probably not going to do that as much. You'll do little mini, like, isolated versions of it, you know?
Yeah, in between there. Well, it's like, think of it like Avatar. There's the overarching story of defeat the Fire Lord, but then there's all the little tiny adventures that happen. That's what you can do with the sandbox game, where it's like, we gotta travel here. We're having this adventure. However, but the main thing is that we gotta find all the Rod of 7 parts or whatever, you know.
I don't know if you even have to have the defeat the Fire Lord, though. I think you can have a sandboxy game that's literally just little episodic stuff, and it doesn't necessarily culminate in any crazy way.
You could, yeah.
You know,
you don't have to. I know. I don't want to say it feels better, but like it gives the players a more realistic goal. It gives you a final just target. Like, it's like, why are we traveling to all these different places? And it's like, you know,
yeah.
And you want to give them some sort of reason, having that overarching like narrative thing.
Well, I think the other thing is it could be self-motivated. Like a great example. A lot of people do the sandbox thing. Why are we traveling around and doing all this? Because your characters want to get rich. Yeah. You know, right? Like that's a thing that's a method I think people don't always think about. That being said, it does require a little more effort and work on your player's part.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason. Side note, part of the reason Evil Campaign can be a little bit harder. It's for the same thing.
Yeah, because it's like, all right, you guys, you're all evil. What do you want to do? One guy, I want to take all over the world. Other guy, I want to build a massive army and destroy and conquer the other lands. Other guys, I wish to summon an all-powerful octopus god that will kill everyone on the planet, including my teammates.
Yep.
What? Who said that?
Yep.
Who said octopus god? Not me, the good cleric.
Yeah, I mean, that's a problem I ran into. That's one of the reasons, I've mentioned this before, but that's one of the reasons Blades in the Dark is a game that sort of requires extra effort from players, because that game assumes that your player characters are self-motivated individuals doing crime for their own particular reason to try and get ahead.
Right. Say, I thought it was the Payday thing where it's like, you guys are a team and you guys are, No. Yeah, you guys are evil, but like, you fucking, it's like you guys are working together.
No, you are a team.
Crimes and shit.
No, you are a team. But what I'm saying is, Blades, you are a team working together and doing crime. But what I'm saying is that Blades wants the player characters to figure out what they want their goal to be as a team, and also sort of on an individual. Like, so for example, the group might be like, yeah, we're part of this. We made a crime group because we want to try and get rich. And then the individual players will go, when I get rich, I'm going to buy this big house. And then another player might go, when I get rich, I'm going to own a Leviathan ship. And another player would be like, when I get rich, I'm going to make this like, amazing new invention. Like, they all have their own reasons why they want to get rich. And then the group effort is get rich. And then the idea is that the players need to be self-motivated in the sense that, criminals can't be reactive by definition, right? To be a criminal, you have to proactively commit the crime because the cops are reacting to the crime, right? So in a Blades game, you kind of have to be self-motivated. And so it's kind of hard for newer players or players who are not used to like deciding their own. Like, Blades basically says, hey, players, you decide your missions yourself. The GM does not decide the missions for you. And a lot of players have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
In an evil campaign, I mean, Blades in the Dark essentially is an evil campaign. So, that's a lot of the struggle is like, oh, you have to decide your own mission. And players go, I don't know how to do that. I'm used to the GM telling me what to do.
Yeah.
Right? That was a tangent. Shit. Going back to the NPCs. Important thing with NPCs. I feel like it's important. I don't know, maybe some people disagree. I think this is super important. Consider and think about how different NPCs will have different opinions and worldviews on things because of their culture and background, and ergo are not going to respond to the same things in the same way, right? Like, the Drow characters are not going to have the same opinion of, like, let's just take Matt's game, for example. The Drow probably don't care as much about the Invincible Overlord because he ain't. I know they were connected, but let's pretend they weren't for a minute. The Drow don't.
All of them, just the one house.
Right. So the rest of the Drow don't care because he's not bothering them. He's on the above world. He ain't coming down here, right? Yeah. So their opinion on the situation is whatever, dude. Let him do whatever the fuck he wants, right? But obviously,
like, fuck those people.
The town that the Invincible Overlord just burned down have a little bit of a different opinion on the situation.
Yeah.
It's like, and also, not all the NPCs. I think players get into a trap a lot of the time where they assume that every NPC that tells them information is telling them the truth or a fact. Not all the NPCs are going to have the information, right? Yeah. A great example. This is sort of a really focused example for my game, but it works. The normal people in my setting, if you say, hey, random Steve off the street, are there gods? And random Steve off the street goes, no, of course not. They're all dead. And then you go, okay, cool. My players found out that was a fucking lie. But it wasn't a lie. It's just random dude Steve on the street didn't know that there were actually some gods still alive, right? As far as he knew, his information was they're all dead. And he had reason and evidence to believe they're all dead. So don't always, you can't always assume that all the NPCs have all the information just because they're an NPC. And they might tell you something that might not necessarily be a lie, but might just be lacking the necessary info to fill you in. So it's like, always consider on the GM side of things, what would this character know and how would this character react based on their background?
Right.
You know, like, again, not only will the drow be like, I don't really care about the invincible overlord, the drow also might be like, the invincible who?
Yeah.
Right? Because he hasn't bothered them, so they'll be like, I don't know who you're talking about, dude.
Yeah, probably most citizens wouldn't have known, but
No
probably
clue.
some of the leader houses, the queen. Probably she would be like, yeah.
Yeah, well, even then, though, even they might not even, you know what I mean? Like, it could be a situation where it's like, you talk to the drow queen and she's like, I mean, sounds like you guys are having a bad time up there on the surface world. Real shame. You know? Like,
Yeah, or most of the time, because it's, drow, they're probably like, he's not invincible. He's like, well, fucking look at us.
He's
We're
not
drow.
invincible.
It's like, well, fucking, if he comes down here, we'll fucking
Sounds like a
sacrifice
punk bitch.
Wolf.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too, right? Like, NPCs might be like, we can handle it, and you as a GM are like, no, they can't, but they think they can.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's a whole other way to like sort of, that's a way to convey the sort of different angles of your narrative and like what's going on, is really be like, hey, just because you guys as the players are focused on this one thing, everybody else might not be so much. They might have other things they're worried about in life.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, no, definitely.
I was about to give a real world. Never mind. I was about to give a real world comparison. I was like, no, that might be too close to home. Never mind.
Oh.
I had a thought and I was like, yeah, it's just I think that also helps with the fleshing out of the world, right? Because you're showing that there are different cultural backgrounds going on. Ergo, they have different opinions on things.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was the same when in the 3-year game, when the players would go to their main hub city. All the people around there have a different opinion on the Invincible Overlord. Oh, he's bad. Then they go over to the Dragonland. They're like, he's kind of a dick,
too
but
bad.
He's not too bad. They go to the Elf City and they're like, he's not really doing it too well for the Elf people. He's kind of giving us a bad name, but he's not the worst leader we've had. And it's like, okay, well, fucking,
He's not really our problem. I'm just saying.
Basically, they go to the Drow City. They're like, who's that? Who that?
Literally,
Yeah.
Bob. Who?
Yeah.
You got any other bullets you want to hit, sir?
I do want to make, because I know how much Isaiah hates this, but I do want to stress the importance of fucking prepping and like outlining shit, like, because like I don't understand how he keeps a lot of shit in his head. It's not good. You gotta get that shit out into a page, but like, definitely sit there and think about the narrative, think about your story, think about like, when should you tie in certain players' backstory and like plot it out and look at
certain NPCs.
like, again, certain NPCs, like, again,
or where do you
don't
want
have
it to, or how do you want it to sort of wrap?
Yeah, how do you want the campaign to go, or where do you want this player to show up out, having certain scenes in mind. Like, because I'm very story based and visual based, I'll have like a scene randomly pop into my head. I think you've mentioned this too.
Yeah, I do.
Where you're like, I want the scene to happen in the campaign, but it's not going to be like one of those like, oh, my novel. It's like, no, I just want the scene, and I want to see the players react in it, or I want a scene and the players will be there for it. I might be able to guess what the players will do, but until they get there, I'll never know.
Yeah, I think when you're planning a scene, particularly a scene that is going to push your narrative forward, really all you're planning is who's going to be present and what vital information is going to be conveyed. Those are the only two things set in stone, right? You know that, the Invincible Overlord's lieutenant is going to be present, and the Invincible Overlord's lieutenant is going to inform the players that he is about to burn their village down. And those are the two things that are set in stone. Everything else, like how the players react, or like how he rolls up, or like if there's a fight, all that stuff is mostly sort of wishy-washy vagary. The only thing you need to push the narrative forward are the concrete things.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that's why, because, if you're doing a game that has a linear story, which both you and me are currently, you have to have points where the narrative is pushed forward in a specific way. Like you have to, right? Like you can't just leave everything 100% wishy-washy. There needs to be certain concrete things that happen to move things forward. The players meet X character, and then the players find Y magic item, and then the players find Z location, right? Like there's certain things that have to happen to move it forward. That's the only way you're going to get any kind of like linear story going on. But all the crap in between, just keep it nice and loose. Just keep it loose, baby. Just free flow. Just let the vibes hit.
Yeah, it's the what's the George R. R. Martin thing? The planting seeds. You plant seeds, and you have the A to what's A to C, but you don't know what B is. It's fine. You'll figure it out eventually, or A to Z.
Or the players will figure it out for you.
Or the players will figure it out for you. Yeah, it's like one of the things I immediately like thought of when I started like talking about this is that scene from V for Vendetta where he's setting up all the dominoes.
I haven't seen that movie.
Oh no! Oh fuck, dude, it's great. All right, we gotta watch it.
So no, I do not.
So there's a scene where he's literally setting up, like how you ever see the videos of people setting up chains of dominoes and then they knock them all down. There's literally what you're doing when you're like prepping and trying to outline stuff and like write shit down. It's mostly to help you feel like you're prepared and you're prepped. You're setting these little dominoes, and then eventually you're just waiting for the players to knock the dominoes down and get from one to the other to the other. And eventually the dominoes will fall and they'll build out. And spoilers for the movie. He sets the dominoes up and knocks them down, and then they spell V.
Of course they do.
Yeah. So it's slowly building these little nuggets at a time, one at a time.
Yeah, and it's points on your flow chart, right? It's the major points basically, of interest, but the path from point A to point B has lots of open-endedness to it. Mm-hmm. Until you get towards the end. Because I do think as you get towards the end, I do think it's okay to really like tighten the bolts down and say to your players, hey, this is what we're doing. We're getting near the end. We're going to focus on these bits. There's not going to be a lot of other side crap going on. So like, don't be starting any new nonsense in the background or big projects or anything. Like, stay in the zone because that's what we're doing. This is where we're at. It's like, it's literally the thing in the video game. I did this to my players last session, straight up. I was like, hey,
the point of no return. Like,
it's the thing with a video game says to you, once you talk to this NPC or once you drop, once you start this quest, you won't be able to come back. Like, this is the final arc. So get all your shit done now. Yeah. I literally said that to my players. I was like, this is we're in the end game. We're in the final arc. We're going to wrap our crap. So like, don't be faffing about. Don't call grandma. You're not calling grandma. There's no time. Like, stay in the zone.
I will say also, cause I don't know how you have everything set up, but I will just say as something that I did in the 3-year game that I'll reference later. Let the players don't just end the campaign at the players getting to level 20 like everybody else does. Let them be level 20 for like a session or two, or hell, let them be level 20 for the ending fight.
And then they get to show off their... Yeah, I think my plan is my players are going to be level 20 probably for the last dungeon's worth.
Yeah,
into the final
fight. They get to try out their fucking super omega powers, and they're like, yeah, we're level 20, we did it, we finally... Yeah. And most people don't play at level 20, so let them have some fun, let them play with the fucking omega beams. My plan is I'm thinking I'm probably going to make them level 20. So the final sort of arc of things is my players are going to take a big, massive caravan and march up to Mount Olympus. And I'm thinking once they start the march through basically there's a wasteland between the city and the mountain. And so they're taking a huge caravan from the city to the mountain up to the top to fix this sort of teleport magic machine thing so that they can get to where the bad guys are based out, more or less. And I'm thinking they're probably going to hit once the caravan gets rolling, I'm thinking they're going to hit 20 from there and basically that lay out the rest of that shit. Nice.
So they're probably going to have a good chunk of sessions at max for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, I think tightening down the bolts on that last arc is fine.
It's fine, yeah.
Is it railroading? Yeah, a little bit, but it's sort of like necessary and consensual railroading.
It's fine to railroad at certain points.
Yeah, it's a necessary point.
Yeah. You know, the meme, like players wait in the sandbox for the railroad, like fucking, yeah. That's like,
yeah, well, yeah, and that's the other thing too is just because you're getting to the last arc and you're sort of railroading them down a specific path, you're still giving them the freedom to solve the problems in various ways. Like, you're not telling them there's only one way to solve this problem. That's the part you want to avoid. But you can railroad them down the path, and then when they get to the end, they have to make a decision. Right, then you're still letting them have their agency in the situation, and because it's a tabletop game and not a video game, they have a damn near infinite number of choices because you as the GM can react to a damn near infinite type of situations, and also be open to like weird solutions at the end of things. Because I said to my players, I was like, hey. My players recently, an NPC informed my players recently, you can destroy the dredge permanently forever, however, if you do that, you're going to throw yourselves into eternal oblivion. So, you know, it's kind of a one-way street. At which point, Brett went, well, Brett's character went, is there any way to avoid the whole eternal oblivion thing? And the NPC went, I don't think so, but you could try, bud. And Brett's character went, okay, that's distressing. And he went, yeah. You know, and me as a GM... He's
like, so they're saying there's a chance.
Right, well, that's the thing. Me as a GM, I'm sitting there, I'm like, there might be a way. Maybe. But I'm sort of open. You know, for now, I'm just telling you what the NPC told you. And he doesn't necessarily have all the information you're looking for. You know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Be open to, you know, like, oh shit.
What the players give you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have some, from Brett saying that I have some other ideas, but I'm not going to say anything because he's going to listen to this. So, you know, not going to spoil nothing because he'll hear.
Yeah. And I'll also just to end on one little tidbit, like fucking your players will give you great ideas. Use them. They'll give you good ideas that can use to help, you know, better come up with a better story or change up. Like, what is it? One of my players, because he was trying to buy, you know, from Fizban's the dragon hide belt, they finally gave the monk a magic item that'll let them increase their fucking like attacks and ki by +1 and shit. Yeah. So they finally added one in, and so he was trying to like get one for another character in our party. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can write some narrative stuff down. But then he gave me the idea. He's like, you know, I think it'd be really cool if, like, because Strixhaven's, like, the whole thing is the founder dragons. There's these 5 all-powerful, magical, like, dragon beings. Like, maybe they, like, donated skin, like, some skin or some scales to make the belts. Skin. Ooh. Yeah. Because it's called dragon hide. So it's, like, fucking...
True.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? That's a good idea. And so I did that. And the players found this, like, you know, ancient dungeon by, you know... these like knights that work for the Strixhaven dragons, and at the end of the dungeon, you know, the fucking Link like opened the, you know, chest, inside was a belt, a multicolored dragon hide belt with all the colors of all the founder dragons, and the player was like, like because he's like, you know, he's like, that was my idea, I did that.
Right. Yeah, and you know, as long as the weird, like the idea that the player is feeding you is not disruptive to your like sort of overall narrative, then yeah, there's no reason not to integrate it. Obviously, if your players say, the bad guys were lovely fuzzy unicorns the whole time, then you're gonna be like, no, they were not. But like, yeah, if it's a thing that you could slide in there, then like, yeah, no reason not to. But you know. There was more to that sentence, but I lost it, so it's fine. Yeah, I don't think any other big bullets you need to hit.
No, I think I pretty much talked about everything I wanted to talk about.
Okay. Yeah, I think the two big takeaways for me, the two big like tools for me is definitely like make sure you're always reusing. I don't like the word reusing. make sure that the NPCs you've introduced stay integrated into the story so that your players can get more attached and feel more invested, and always make sure and just throw out those fucking lore tidbits at random and just let them rock. Plus, I think the best part about throwing out the lore tidbits is then if your players do ask, you get to do the thing where you go, well, actually, and you push up your GM glasses and flip out your big binder of notes and start reading, right? Like, yeah, that's the goal. That's when you're allowed to do it. That's when you're allowed to just read all the nonsense you wrote down, is when your player goes, what's this thing? And you go, well, I've got just the answer for you, bud.
Yeah.
But if your players don't ask and you just start doing that, you're just being annoying. Stop it. Get some help. Yeah. Okay. Any a final note? Final thing you'd like to drop, like a nugget of wisdom?
Outline, prep, not steal, but
definitely outline.
Insert player backstories. Yeah. Outlining, so fucking important.
I think the important note, the important note though, outline. Don't
write a novel. Outline.
Yeah. Don't write a novel. Outline
and
the major points. Leave space.
Leave space in between the bullet points. Yeah. Because you can always change shit and add shit. I still do that now as prepping. When I'm prepping, because again, Strixhaven, they give me the bullet points and then I can take them and change them or add, whatever.
Yeah.
Outline it, and I can add stuff in between each bullet point they give me, so it's great.
Yes. Yeah, big fan of the outline myself. Big fan.
Yeah.
One day we'll convince Isaiah.
One day hopefully. One day. Literally will make his life 10 times easier when it comes to fucking
honestly, I don't even entirely understand why he's so resistant to the outline.
What was his reasoning last time? He's he likes keeping it all in his head.
No, I don't think he likes it. I think that's just what he does. I don't think it's I don't think it's a preference per se.
I thought it was his preference.
I the vibe I got was he's just sort of
doesn't like note taking.
I don't know. Yeah, he's just resistant to writing the outline for some reason.
Just don't be Isaiah. Just do it forehead.
I mean, pretty much. I'm not gonna say that, but yeah.
I'll say it.
I said it. All right. Well, if you've made it this far, give us a follow on Twitter. That'd be nice. Be a big fan, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
All right. That's bye-bye.
Well, one last thing before anything. Just because we mentioned him a lot this episode, and also to date the crap out of this episode. If anyone, new DMs want some new monsters, MCDM's Flea Mortals PDF came out finally, and let me tell you, it's a ride. Some of the shit in there is funny.
Wait, is it fully out?
Yeah, it's fully out.
Oh.
Yeah, Flea Mortals. Yeah, it's a cool book. Really cool.
Okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to add that last bit in the end.
All right. Now bye-bye.
Peace.